So, I guess I should start somewhere else. But anyway, I figure I'd start all the way over here at the end. I've been taking screenshots of my portfolios and whatnot because I'm working on getting a loan for a new property. So I've got 4 properties in total. One is I only own 10% of because I bought into a sustainable community in 2012 when I first left the city. And that turned out to be a scam, but at least I still own 10% of the property. So it wasn't a total loss, and now the property value's gone up. So between the money that I wrote off as far as the investment goes and the increased value of the 10% that I do own, the property's worth, I'm almost maybe kind of broke even. What I'm going to try to do eventually is buy everybody out and then I'll own the whole thing. But anyways, that's another rabbit trail. When that didn't work out, I regrouped and bought my 15 acres, or I was owner financing it, and then I ended up buying my Kaplinger property. I owner financed that too, but I paid that one off pretty quick because it was a lot cheaper. I was buying it from a friend. So I owner financed that, paid it off, and then the 15 acres that I was owner financing, I refinanced that through the bank, got a lower interest rate, and now I'm buying another property from the couple that bought the property from the friend that I bought my Kaplinger property from. So that guy owned like 7 properties, him and his wife. They had big dreams and not enough time and energy to do it all. And after she passed, he ended up liquidating pretty much everything, and then he passed away shortly thereafter. But he sold their 30 acres to this couple, and then I just happened, and I won't go into the drama. I happened to notice that it was for sale last year in October, I think it was October. And so I made them an offer, they took it, but I couldn't get the loan right away, and they were desperate. So they offered to owner finance 0% interest. So, but I had to get financing in a year and a half. Well, it's been a half a year now. So I got my taxes done, and so now we're working on getting financing, but I want it 50-50 in my girlfriend's name because I want everything to be 50-50 with us. That way, you know, her and I go way back. We dated when she was 17. I was 2 years older than her. And so she was 17 going on 18. And we ended up breaking up while she was 18, you know, after, you know, she turned 18. And long story short, we got back together 30 years later. And so she's a good person, you know. I don't think she would ever screw me over, and I wouldn't screw her over. So I'm trying to set neither one of us want to get married, so I'm trying to make sure that everything is 50-50, you know, fair and equal. So her credit score is not as good as mine, and she doesn't have as much assets as I do. But she makes more money than I do. Not by much, but she works less and makes just a little bit more than I do, so that's kind of a lot. However, I've accumulated a lot more assets. So our income kind of balances out at this time. And as I build my dividends and I build my passive income, then that will only get better. For me anyways. She's kind of afraid of all this stuff. She just does 5% interest savings account, high yielding savings account, and that's it. So she's got a little bit more debt than I do, but anyways, so she sold her house in Kansas City and bought property just north of me, and then we ended up getting back together. So then she sold that property, invested 15 grand into my Kaplinger property to fix it up for her camper, and we've been living there ever since, until we got this new property, 30 acres. So you know, she really doesn't have anything to show for herself, and so I want to make sure that she has, like I say, 50-50. She has some tangible asset to call her own. So we're trying to wait until we get her credit up, because her credit is just above par, if you will. So I'm not a big golfer, so I have to remember the right terminology. Under par is good, over par is bad. So her credit score is just over par, and so we're trying to get it at least par. And so but we still got a year before we need to refinance. And at the moment, we're getting 0% interest, so that's pretty good, minus the drama that we have to deal with these crazy people. So anyway, luckily we got everything in writing. We've got our I's dotted and our T's crossed, and we've covered our butts. So at this point, we're just working on getting financing. So I screenshotted all this stuff to say, or I did all that stuff, or whatever. I'm saying all that stuff to say why I got these screenshots already ready. Now, my credit score is like 711, and hers is like, I think 645, and it needs to be at least 650. So yeah, so we're both working on making our credit better, while I'm also working on this. Because this will also help me get the loan, because they see that I have, you know, $2,500 in passive income. Not to mention, we now have renters for the Kaplinger property, so that's another $6,000 a year that I'll be making. But I'll be reinvesting that into the Kaplinger property to make it more nice. And then after that, I'll start pocketing the money. So anyways, here's my Webull profile. I don't really have a lot there. It's not my primary account. So I've got $77 in cash
Right curve ahead.
And the rest is in the market. Profits and losses. As far as cash value goes, I'm under par. I'm doing pretty good. It went way up, and then it went way down. Now it's going back up again. But the stock market was going crazy because of the Trump tariffs. But I think once everything mellows out, the stock market's going to recover, and everybody's going to be making money. Well, most everybody. So, according to this, my profits and losses, I'm actually in a negative. I don't know what that means overall. Then again, it says here at the bottom, my stocks are in a positive $82. So, I don't get that. But anyways, my dividends are $72, and then the interest I earned off of just having my money sit in the account. What is it called? I don't know, my buying power account. So my cash balance, I've earned almost $5 in interest. And then I've earned $72 in dividends. But I've only got $1,000 invested in Webull. Most of my money is in Robinhood. I'd probably have less invested in... Hang on. I'd probably have less invested in Webull if I could buy the dollar amount, but they forced me to buy by the share, so I probably bought a little more than I would have if I could buy by the dollar amount. So, like Cash App and Robinhood lets me buy, only maybe $1's worth or $2's worth. But Webull makes you buy by the shares. So, yeah. Anyways, so that's that. It looks like so far I'm in the positive with Webull. Cash App. So my realized and unrealized gains was a lot higher, but like I said, the market's down right now because of the Trump tariffs. So, but I'm still in a positive over here, so that's pretty good. And then my dividends, I got almost $500 in dividends so far. And that's just Cash App. That's where I started out before I even knew what dividends were. And that's where I learned, or started learning. Okay, so here is my Edward Jones. So next month I'll have that $200 that's in cash will be moved over, or at the end of the month it'll be moved over into the mutual fund. So the mutual fund will be $200 more plus my interest, and then the cash will be $200 less. According to this, my IRA is making about 32%. Pretty good. Even better, it's tax-free. So if I had the extra cash, I didn't have all this equity or all this land that I'm making payments on and all this other garbage that I've been spending money on, which I'm liquidating my IT business. So once I sell off that, and I'm also selling off part of the farm stuff that I had because I had a whole bunch of different projects I was going to do for the sustainable community that I was doing, but that turned out to be a flop. So I've sold off some of the crap that I bought that I figured I'd probably never use. And now that I discovered Dividend Stocks, I've decided to liquidate even more. So I'm selling a lot of stuff. I'm selling off my IT business. It's not made me near the profit that I made off dividends. I mean, I made money off the IT business, but the profit wasn't there. So the profit is right here. So work your job, get the best bang for your buck, earn as much money as you possibly can, and invest as much money as you possibly can, and live on as little as you possibly can, so that you can retire as early as possible. So at my rate, I don't know, I might retire in 5 to 10 years and be comfortable. So that's the goal, 5 to 10 years. In about 5 years, I plan to semi-retire, and in 10 years, I plan to fully retire. So, yeah. I was hoping to be there by now, but all my other business adventures have been a flop. But, I'm not the best business guru guy either, So that's why I decided I'm just going to invest in other business guru people and make money off them, because I'm an idea guy. I'm a better idea guy than I am an entrepreneur. I mean, I got the ambition, or used to have the ambition. I used to have the drive. A friend of mine told me, he says, you need to get rich just off your efforts alone. But I was always missing something, I just couldn't put my finger on it. And then over the years, I just started losing ambition and drive. Well, over the last decade, I started losing ambition and drive. And so, yeah, I think it all started in 2017 is when I really started losing my drive. I mean, I started losing my drive after my last wife had a secret affair and cheated on me. Which, yeah, secret affair. But anyways, that devastated me. And, but it took me about a year to recoup from that psychologically. But I got my wits about me and I picked up and carried on. But then, I don't know. I had another devastating relationship situation in 2017, and then in 2019, my sustainable community really started falling apart, and I don't know, I just kind of spiraled downhill from there. And so, and then I discovered dividend stocks about 2 years ago. So, here I am. I'm like, forget all that garbage. I'm just going to invest in dividend stocks. And that's pretty much where I'm at now. I do some day trading, but not very much. So, if I knew then what I know now, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, the reason I'm doing these videos is for people like my nieces and my nephews and my children who, I don't really talk to my kids because another rabbit trail, but basically my youngest son's kind of handicapped and he don't talk to me. He's brainwashed against me. My oldest son's brainwashed against me. I had 2 kids, 2 different moms.
Right curve ahead.
And the first one cheated on me and then divorced me for the guy that she got pregnant with while she was cheating on me. And the second one, she was horrible. But anyways, after that I joined the Clip Club. But you know, I'd like to educate my kids on this, but I don't know. I'll probably never see or speak to them again. And I was talking to my youngest son, but then I don't know. We didn't agree religiously, and so he was raised as a religious radical, and I used to be more religious myself, but I kind of woke up to a lot of things, and I'm more neutral now. And he wanted me to take his side on a situation where he was wrong, in my opinion, and I didn't take his side, and so he got mad at me and unfriended me on Facebook and won't talk to me. So I'm like, okay, you know, I'm not gonna force you to be in my life. You know, I don't force nobody to be in my life. So you either are or you ain't. So there's that. I'm not begging anyone to be a part of my life. So my point in that was I'm trying to educate the younger people, because my dad never educated me on this stuff. Well, my dad didn't really know either. My dad knew about stocks, but he didn't know about dividend stocks. But you know, my dad, my grandparents, they didn't give us a financial education. You know, my dad treated us like garbage, and then when he was old and didn't have nobody, he wanted our worlds to revolve around his. And I hope I don't be like that whenever I'm old, and if my kids ever come back into my life, I hope I'm not like my dad was to my brother and I. But I don't think I would be, because my attitude's a little bit different, and I'm also conscious about the situation. You know, like, I will consciously make the effort to not be like that. So anyway, so my point is, my family never gave my brother and I a financial education. We had to figure it out on our own. And so now that we're figuring it out, we're trying to educate, well, mostly my brother's children, and pass that information on to the next generation. And hopefully, you know, they'll utilize this information before it's too late, before they get too old. You know, it's like my mom, she got started with an IRA, but she really didn't know much about it. She kind of got lucky and got on with the railroad towards the end of her career, and got her railroad retirement, which is not as good as her boyfriend's, but she also landed a really good guy who has a really good retirement and a really good portfolio, and my mom's sitting pretty. But, you know, she had to marry into that, essentially. They're not legally married, but, you know, they're in a committed relationship. And they'll probably be together till they die. Because they've been together forever. And I don't see that relationship dissolving. So, now he wasn't financially educated all that much either. It was his brother who hooked him up with the portfolio. And then he got a good job on the railroad and just worked real hard and kept putting his money away. And he followed his brother's lead. So his brother had the financial education and he just followed his brother. And his brother took care of it. And so it's kind of like that with my brother and I. I'm the more intellectual one, if you will. And so I'm the one doing the more in-depth research on this stuff. And then I help him out, and I'm helping his children out. So hopefully we can create generational wealth. So that's the reason why I'm doing these videos, to help the next generation. Because, you know, our prior generation didn't help us. So it's like I'm trying to pay it forward, if you will. I don't monetize my stuff. Maybe I will in the future, but I doubt it. I'm just doing this to help out. So, anyway. So, I suggest a Roth IRA. Put as much in there as you possibly can, because it's tax free. Problem is, you can't touch it till you're like 59, 60, whatever. So, not just do a Roth IRA, you know, do something else on the side, like a mutual fund, or, you know, invest in your, you know, do your own investments. Mutual funds, REITs, ETFs, index funds, and bonds. Those are the safest. And then you could do other stuff too, like me. But, so my IRA, I've only got 16 grand in there. I ended up I had a traditional IRA at first, but then I ended up cashing it out to save my house, which I ended up losing anyways, up in Kansas City. And after the affair, I just was like not in my right head, and I was just devastated. So I pretty much lost everything. Not mostly just because I wasn't in my right head, and I just didn't care. I didn't try. I just gave up, so to speak, and I pretty much just let it all go, because I was just like, I didn't care. But anyway, so my mutual fund, I thought I took a screenshot of that. It's making about 15%. Oh, it's over here. 14%, I think. Yeah, my mutual fund's only making 14%, and my IRA is making about twice, 32%. So here is my dividend stocks. So I have about 11,500 invested. Whoa. Right now the stock market is down about 1,500, which sounds bad. Um, I don't understand the realized profits and losses, but it's almost $1,000. And then the dividends I've already received is about $1,300. And then the dividends that I will receive annually is $2,500. And my yield after cost is almost 33%. So I'm actually doing better. No, 23%, my bad. So I'm almost doing as good as the IRA. The thing of it is this here, I have to pay taxes on this. However, it's only a 20% tax versus income tax is like 30, 40, almost 50%, depending on where you live, blah, blah, blah. So I only got to pay a 20% tax on this versus my income tax, which is almost twice as much. And then my IRA, I don't got to pay nothing. Now this here, I would only have to pay 20% too if I cashed it out. Hang on a second. Oh, okay. So, but now that at the end of the month, once my mutual fund gets bumped up to $2,700, then I can bump that up to the next level to a better mutual fund and make more money. So the yield's going to be a little bit higher, maybe 20%, maybe 25%. I don't know. We'll see once we get there. But I guess the better stuff, you got to put more money in, and so I had to have $2,500 before I could go in on it. So what he did was he hooked me up with the one I have now until I reached the $2,500, and then boom, now he's gonna bump me up to the next level. So we'll see what kind of interest I'm making off of that. But anyhow, so I'm doing pretty good as far as my investments overall. That being,
take the first exit on the right onto Sunnybrook Drive.
That being said, the stock market's down right now, so it looks like I'm not doing too good over here on the capital gains side. But overall, I'm not doing too bad. And once the market recovers after the whole Trump tariff thing,
first left onto Sunnybrook Drive.
I'll be sitting pretty. So I put together all this stuff for my loan officer so I can get this loan. So I got land that I'm raising sheep and goats on. My girlfriend's going to be doing pigs and fowl. And then we'll have our own meat. And of course we can sell the animals or the meat for profit, obviously. And then So, oh, yeah, so I got the 15 acres, which I have the sheep and goats on, and the pigs and the fowls for now. They're soon going to be moved to the 30 acres. My girlfriend's getting the 30 acres set up for the pigs and the fowl. And I'm going to keep some fowl.
Your destination is on the left.
I'm going to keep some fowl in Stockton on the 15 acres. Hang on a second. This is a tight spot. People like to be douchebags and not let me in. But I got lucky today. Anyway. So, the 15 acres, I still owe 30 grand on it. But once I get my dividends up, I'm going to be paying that down. Right now, I'm trying to get my credit cards paid down, so I'm only investing in dividend stocks that have a higher yield than the interest rate on my debt. So right now, I'm getting my credit cards paid down, which that'll help my credit. Now that I've got 10 grand invested, I now have more money invested than I have in credit card debt. And I'm making about the same interest on my dividend stocks as I'm paying in interest on my debt. So, with the credit cards. So, I'm ahead of the game as far as that goes. So now, I'm just taking all my extra. Whoa, what the fork? I guess the brakes don't work on this trailer very well. Alright. Anyway. Yard move. Drop. And hook. Pre-trip, post-trip. Drop. And hook. Anyways, so yeah, I'm basically taking all my extra money now and paying down the credit cards. We're trying to sell my dad's mobile home. We may not get the 60,000 we're trying to get. Although they're selling new ones for 70, 80, and 90,000, so I don't see why we can't get 60 out of it. But that's our goal. But we may get 50 out of it. Which, if we get 50, I owe my girlfriend 15, 16 technically, because she paid for part of my fencing for the 15 acres. So I owe her 16 grand. So I owe her 16 grand. So 25. Let's just say we get 50. Or hopefully we get 52. Then I'll have, we'll just say that. I'll basically have 10 grand left over after I pay her back. So, $10,000 times 0.22. Oh yeah, that's what I already have in there. So I'll be making an extra $2,200 a year. So that'll put me at $4,000 a month income. So divided by 12, just shy up. So, and then I'll just basically just take that money and just keep reinvesting it, and growing my income. And then I can take my paycheck and just put it towards the bills and paying down the credit card. Once the credit card's paid down, then I'm going to pay down my pickup truck. And then once that's paid down or paid off, then I can focus on paying down my mortgages. So, and I really only have 2 mortgages at this point, but I'm looking at pulling, because we're going to need about $30,000 down for this new property. I got a good deal on it though. So comp on it is about $200,000, and I walked in, offered him $145. He countered for more, but I backed out, and then he offered me owner financing at the $145. So I got a good deal. Oh wow, that's the first time it's done that. Okay, cool. Maybe I can bypass this. I got a new truck and it's confusing. But anyways. So $145, we put 5 down. So and let's see, November, December, January, February, March, April, we've already paid May's. Might go into June, so that's 8,000. So we'll be at 132,000 by the time we need financing. So we'll need almost 30,000 down, but we'll have probably 30,000. We'll try to keep 30,000 between the 2 of us for the down payment and half of the closing costs, because they got to pay the other half. And then that's going to be about $5,000. And then but that other 15,000, I'm going to try to pull it out of my Kaplinger property, which I'm making, you know, $500, $600 a month off of. Well, I will be as of next month. So I'll be making $600 a month, and the mortgage on that's probably only going to be $150. Yeah, about $150 a month. So I'll be making a profit, plus I'll only be paying maybe 7% interest, you know, 10 at best, and or less, you know. What my mortgage I'm paying now is only 4.5%. So somewhere between 5 and 10% is what I'll be paying, but I'll be making 22% on my dividends. So I'd be better off to take a loan against the property, write that off on my taxes, and then have a profit coming from the property, and then make more money off my dividends than I am paying in interest on the loan. So that's basically how I'm playing this game. So yeah. Wish me luck. But anyhow, like I said, I'm doing this to educate those who know less than I do. And there's people out there who know more than I do. The 3 people that I follow is the Minority Mindset guy,
can't, Jamie? Pull it up.
Minority mindset. I follow this guy, minority mindset guy. I call him the Indian guru guy. And then Gen X dividend investor. I follow this guy. And then dividend. Bull. Why is it doing that? It wasn't doing that before. Oh well. Anyways. I gotta figure out how to bypass that. Oh. I'm subscribing to him on a different profile. So now I'm just subscribing to him on this profile as well. But anyways, those are the three main guys that I follow. I think there's another one I just started following, but I can't remember. But these are the three main ones. So, yeah. And I do owe the guy that... I was watching his video on Snowball. So this is, I watched his video, sold me on using Snowball, and so that's why I'm using Snowball, and I'm following that guy too. So if you Google Snowball, his video will probably come up, and you can follow him as well. But anyways, those people know more than I do. There's probably other people who know more than I do, I'm sure. Well, I know there's a lot more people who know a lot more than I do. But anyways, when I first started, I just would call my Edward Jones broker and consult him. And I still do that on an occasion. I just sent him an email with similar screenshots and say, hey, check this out, what do you think, blah blah blah. And then I told him, I says, you know, at the end of the month I'd like to bump my mutual fund up to the next level, blah blah blah. I'm still waiting for him to get back to me on that. But so I consult him and follow these three dividend guys. So there you go. Alright, I gotta go do this drop and hook, and then I got 2 hours on my logbook. So I'll get to a parking spot, and then I'll upload this video. Alright, peace.